Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is expected to meet with the Tesla CEO Elon Musk, and the meeting is scheduled to take place in New York. Now remember, the Indian Prime Minister is presently on a 3-day-long state visit to the United States, has just landed in New York a few minutes ago. Now, the Indian Prime Minister will be meeting with many members of the business community and other leaders during his trip. And this will be the first time that Elon Musk will be meeting the Indian Prime Minister since he took charge of Twitter. And according to sources, the Indian Prime Minister's talks with Elon Musk will focus on Tesla's foray into the Indian market. And Musk has said that he is very serious about Tesla's plans to establish a manufacturing base in India. Now, back in 2015, the Indian Prime Minister had paid a visit to the headquarters of Tesla Motors in San Jose in California. Now, the Indian Prime Minister will be meeting at least about 20 thought leaders from various walks of life, and this will include Nobel laureates, economists, artists, scientists, scholars, entrepreneurs, healthcare sectors, amongst a whole lot of others. And some of the popular leaders that the Indian Prime Minister will be meeting includes the likes of US astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson, the World Bank Senior Vice President Paul Romer, amongst many other important literary figures and artists. And before flying to the United States, the Indian Prime Minister also gave an interview to the Wall Street Journal. Now, speaking of the Russia-Ukraine war, the Indian Prime Minister said that the world has full confidence that India's topmost priority is peace. He also underlined that India is not neutral in the Russia-Ukraine war, but rather India has taken a clear side of peace. On the India-China equation, the Indian Prime Minister stated that peace and tranquility at the border areas is essential. He said, and I quote him here, that India is fully prepared and is committed to protecting its sovereignty and dignity. The last May, Biden and the Indian Prime Minister had announced a bilateral initiative on critical and emerging technologies. The technologies that were dubbed as ICET. The two leaders had directed their governments to work together on advanced tech, from AI to semiconductor chips to quantum computing, especially in the defense sector. All right, now to give us more perspective in terms of what, of course, is happening on the ground, we're being joined in by WION's Siddhant Sabal, who's joining us live from New York, and we also have Susan Tehrani, who will also be joining us live from New York. Now, Siddhant, let me begin with you first. We are given to understand that the Indian Prime Minister has just landed in the United States, and with this, it's the next 3-4 days are going to be very, very hectic. Now, give us a sense of what's in fact lined up for the Indian Prime Minister in the United States.
Well, Mohammed, I'm standing in front of Indian Prime Minister's hotel where he is due to arrive shortly, and it is celebrations which are happening essentially. If I can show you, a lot of Indian Americans have descended, and with flags they have descended here, and they are eager to wait the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and of course a lot of sloganeering as well. Let me first speak to them because they are waiting for a pretty long time. Sir, how do you see this visit of the Indian Prime Minister cementing the relationship?
Because everybody recognizes us, they respect us due to Modi, because Modi's work is powerful in the all over the world. He's a hero of our India.
Sir, your comments about the Indian Prime Minister's visit, if you can come this side and speak to.
Yes, it's a very proud moment for all the Indians and even Americans. He has brought our name, way up in the world society, so to say, and he is a saint, and respect him like a saint, but I think it's going to be very good for the relationship between India and USA, and we are proud of him with the work that he's been doing, and we know whatever action he's going to take for Indians and for the world as a global family, it will be the best, So we are all the way with him.
Many Indians have now broken into spontaneous Garba. If I can show you a little bit here, there's a lot of commotion as well, but essentially a lot of media as well present to record this moment. We have seen several diaspora events. One will happen in Washington as well, but the excitement in the diaspora is something that is natural as well. There's 4 million members of the Indian American diaspora here in United States, and they play a key role in terms of strengthening of the relationship. There are others as well. Sir, would you like to speak to us? How do you see Indian Prime Minister's visit to United States?
It's really good that he's here. It's a blessing. We're really proud of Modi ji. looking forward to seeing him.
Looking forward to see him is the message by the members of the diaspora. But all in all, a lot of outcomes. We do expect outcomes. Something we have been talking about. We saw the presser by the White House official who clearly said that India is a great power.
Indeed, Siddhant. This, of course, is what we've been waiting for. The Indian Prime Minister has, of course, landed in the United States. And this of course, kickstarts the next 3 odd days of the meetings that he'll, of course, have with different leaders and with thought leaders in the United States. And also joining us in this broadcast is my colleague Susan Tehrani, who's also live from New York. Now, Susan, there are a whole host of different leaders which the Indian Prime Minister will be meeting, but what has been confirmed, what is making headlines, is the fact that the Tesla CEO, Elon Musk, will also be meeting with the Indian Prime Minister. Now, Elon Musk has been trying for some time to start his businesses in India. Now, give us a sense as to how crucial the meeting of the Tesla CEO is likely to be with the Indian Prime Minister.
You know, it's very important, first of all, considering the fact that there is so much pressure on U.S. companies to move their hubs out of China and to go somewhere else where they can also do business in. And not only in Asia, but elsewhere, there's been this damning concern about how to really decouple, not come back to the United States, but find another hub. And I think with Tesla CEO Elon Musk really being the first meeting between the Indian Prime Minister and a American business person, then it really sets the stage that the possibilities are endless in terms of cooperation between the two sides with the private sector and also India as well. And I think India's private sector is also going to be looking at this meeting very closely as well, as will business leaders here in the United States, to see how this develops and what is the potential between the two sides, if you may.
Absolutely, indeed. And Siddhant, if I can bring you in on this, the 21st of June is recognized as World International Yoga Day. And we've got a lot of events lined up tomorrow in New York. Give us a sense about the International Yoga Day and as to how this will be done in New York there.
Well, yes, Yoga Day is something that will be the key showstopper here in New York. Perhaps I can first show you some visuals of the members of the Indian American diaspora here ahead of the Indian Prime Minister's visit, but a festival atmosphere ahead of Indian Prime Minister's arrival at his hotel. But yoga is something that is on top of the mind. We know that several diplomats, influencers will be present at the Yoga Day celebration, and it was Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi who gave the idea of Yoga Day way back in 2014 during his first address at the United Nations General Assembly, and since then this has become an annual festival of sort in terms of Yoga Day. This time, of course, we will see the President of the General Assembly also participating, other high-ranking UN officials also doing yoga with the Indian Prime Minister. We know that when it comes to yoga, it is seen as an important component of the UN SDGs, that is Sustainable Development Goal.